Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Depressed Part 1. Chapter 1. Weird Happenings. Rhea sighed as she and her peerage went through a magical circle back to her clubhouse. She sat down on the couch and began to think on what just happened. It was an exhausting 2 weeks, going back to her home in the underworld to convince her family not to marry her to Riser Phoenix. Just thinking of that man got her blood boiling. But her family insisted. For the good of the family and for the life of devils, they said. She convinced her brother that she shouldn't marry that pig that dared call himself her fiancé, but she had trouble on talking her parents and grandparents into cancelling the union. After 2 long weeks full of debates, arguments and compromises, she finally got back and can finally relax. "But you, shall I prepare the bath for you?" That voice came from a purple-eyed beautiful girl with thigh-length hair tied up in a ponytail by an orange ribbon. This was Himejima Akeno, her queen and her oldest and most trusted friend. "Thank you, Akeno. I'm really tired tonight. Talking with my family about marriage always takes up all my energy, you know," Riaz replied with a grateful smile. "Yes, a bath sounded lovely. But do you have anything else for us to do?" A prince-like voice came from a handsome blonde boy with blue eyes and a charming smile. "No, Yudo, you and Kaneko-chan can go home now. It's getting late after all." Biba Yudo, her knight, smiled politely and with a nod, went out the door. A short white-haired hazel-eyed girl named Kaneko Taoju that also happened to be her rook, said in an emotionless voice, "Good night Butchu," and also went on her way home. "The bath is ready." Akeno's voice rang throughout the clubroom. Rhea sat up and undressed, setting her clothes on a nearby table and got into the shower. As she let the water run down her body, making her crimson-red hair stick to her body, she began to think about what she would do to make sure that she wouldn't get married to that Riser Phoenix. Maybe, just maybe, she could challenge Riser to a rating game, and if she won then maybe her parents could finally see that she was an adult and will allow her to choose her own decisions. But first, she should increase her peerage's strength. She loved all of them and wouldn't trade them for the world, but if she went on with her plan, she should get someone to be able to get a fighting chance. Smiling as she thought about candidates that can help her win, one in particular stood out. Someone that she was observing for quite a while now. Haidu Issei yawned wildly as he stumbled sleepily to the school, nearly hitting a trash can as he did so. He glared at the metal bin as if it did him a personal offense. Today just wasn't his day. For starters, his business last night took longer than he expected and as such, got finished at 3 in the morning, and when he went to his home, he found out that he accidentally forgot his keys in his room and so he locked himself out of his own freaking house. After trying to sneak through the door, his parents caught on, they demanded an explanation. When he couldn't answer their questions, he was forced to go through the night with no dinner and had to clean the whole house. After doing all his work, he just managed to fall on his bed, exhausted, when his alarm clock sounded. He shut it off and considered just skipping school when his father showed up, tearing bed sheets off of him. When he just gave it up and sleepily stood up, his father considered it too slow and picked him up, throwing him into the ice-cold bath. When he finally came out the bathroom, he saw he was almost late so he dressed in record time, forgot any breakfast, and ran out as fast as he can. Right now he was walking to school with his 2 friends. "Hey Mitsuda, Motohama. How are you?" They turned around, grinning at him. "Hello, Issei my friend, what a fine morning we have today. Of course it's a glorious day because we are enrolled in Kuo Academy." These 2 were Mitsuda and Motohama, the biggest perverts, along with Issei, in Kuo Academy. "But right now, why are you talking like you're trying to explain to a non-existent about our school?" Issei asked, looking a little confused. Mitsuda just ignored him. "Of course we have to explain it. After all, Kuo is a school full of beautiful women that's just waiting for us to take them." Mitsuda was a bald former jock in middle school, but joined the photography club in high school. He was also a self-proclaimed lolicon. "Yes Issei, after all, our school has one of the best uniforms in all of Japan that makes the women look even sexier." That was Motohama, a short guy with glasses that had the godlike, in Issei's opinion, ability to be able to see the measurements of any women just by looking at them. Because of that, he was called the perverted glasses. And the 3 sizes scouter. After his explanation, Issei finally understood, sagely nodding his head. Kuo Academy had 2 sets of uniforms. One for the boys, one for girls. The girls' uniform was a white long-sleeved button-down shirt with vertical linings, a black ribbon on the collar, a black shoulder cape with a button-down corset, and completed by a magenta skirt with white accents. He considered it a masterpiece of design and would thank the maker for such a brilliant idea. On the other hand, the boys' uniform consists of a black blazer accented with white worn over a white long-sleeved button-down shirt with vertical linings, a black ribbon on the collar, black pants and brown dress shoes. As a side note, it also had a summer version with short-sleeved shirts and worn without either the blazer or the shoulder cape, which Issei really wanted to see. Of course. It is our responsibility as men to appreciate what Kuo Academy is all about. Issei spoke passionately. Beside him, Mitsuda and Motohama had tears of manliness flowing down their cheeks. In unison, they spoke up. Having our very own harem. Yes, most of the men have enrolled in Kuo went in hopes of having their own harem. It was mainly because of the fact that Kuo was an all-girls school until it recently when it became co-ed. Pervert, the worst, unforgivable. The three perverts felt their dream shatter at those words directed at them by the girls also moving towards Kuo and began to cry tears of sorrow. But of course, we are men who are unfavored by the gods. Mitsuda said, immediately followed by Mitsuda. And the hated of women. We, of all people, have no chance in getting our harem. But Issei did not let them wallow in despair and declared, we should not lose hope my friends. I believe in a world in which we, the unpopular guys, may be able to have our own harem. We were all given a chance in this world were we not? Then it is our responsibility to do our best and have sex with as many women as we can. Following that rather impressive, if perverted, monologue, the three idiots, along with some of the men who heard them, began to cheer among themselves. Go away. Ah, you perverts. The whisperings of the women in the gates of the school started up again and broke the idiots down into tears. Checkmate. Ria said, moving her pawn, effectively ending the game. Already? That was one of the harder ones. Akeno said. Then make it harder next time. Ria said, stripping of her clothes as she did so, letting her breasts bounce free from her bra as she stepped into the shower. She really needed to think about her plans for her future. Specifically, how to get out of her arranged marriage. Maybe she could challenge Riser for her own freedom. But for that, she needed more people to be able to stand a fighting chance. Maybe someone enrolled in Kuo in the short time she was gone. It was a new school year after all, and many people transferred here being a prestigious school and all. Maybe someone with potential came here, someone who may be able to help her regain her freedom. One Haidu Issei sneezed. Hey, maybe someone is talking about me. A beautiful Bishouju with big breasts. And maybe she's talking to her friends about me, and thinking of Issei began to trail off in perverted giggles before being stopped by the arrival of his friend. Issei. Mitsuda said. He looked more excited than usual, his face carrying a grin overloaded with perversity. What is it? Issei asked, confused and slightly excited. After all, what could make Mitsuda have an expression like that if not for perverted things? Motohama found a peephole in the kendo club. Can you imagine? Their feminine bodies drenched with sweat, wiping them off with towels, showing themselves off to us men. Ahaha. Mitsuda, who was breaking off into perverted giggling, said. At his back Motohama had a proud look on his face, no doubt reveling in the find of the century, to the three idiots. Of course Issei only had one thing to say to that. I have found paradise. This was Issei's thought the moment he put his eye through the hole on the side of the building. Everywhere he looked, women of different type can be seen. The sight of them taking off their club uniforms was a wonder to Issei's eyes. The memory of them and nothing but their underwear was now firmly imprinted in Issei's mind. Issei thought that if ever he got amnesia and forget everything he ever did, then he believed that this piece of heaven will remain with him till dying breath. The only problem was, Issei. Get off that. It's my turn now. Screw you Motohama. I want to see it. I'm the one who found it anyway. Shut up you guys. If you go any louder we'll get caught. He had to deal with these two fuckers. Shut up both of you. Murayama senpai is taking off her bra and I want to see her tits. And with that, Issei went back to his peeping. At his back, unseen, Mitsuda and Motohama looked at each other grimly, like two soldiers on a battlefield, before nodding at each other. Issei. Ria's Gremory is showing her boobs the two of them yelled, gaining the attention of both Issei and the girls in the club room. What? Where? Issei said, his head immediately snapping to the sides. Big mistake. Mitsuda and Motohama did a combination attack, both of their fingers slamming into Issei's eyes, making him collapse to the ground in pain, reaching for the damaged ocular organs. Ahhhh. What the hell? Why would you do something like that? Issei said trailing off. The reason was instead of Mitsuda and Motohama, the sight that greeted him was a horde of girls glaring down at him like the army of hell itself, and Issei froze. Maybe it was just his imagination, but he swore that their faces were replaced by Ashura itself, twisting itself into an ugly snarl. You've got a load of nerve doing this Haidu. This is what I hate about perverts like you. You'll regret ever peeping on us. I'm gonna stick this shinai where the place doesn't shine. Issei was now as pale as a ghost. Sorry. The girl smiled, the threat of intense pain obvious. The girls, wielding their wooden swords, beat him black and blue. Issei gave out a sob of despair. Such misfortune. Getting caught peeping and then being punished for it. Still, I got to see their tits, so I got that going for me which is nice. Issei was currently alone on top of a bridge, leaning against the railing, his back against the sunset. It's all your fault partner. Seriously, you go peep and not even prepare some countermeasures that isn't like you. I know, but in my defense, that was the first time I've seen real tits that isn't horribly mangled, bloody and attached to a living woman who isn't out to kill me, so you can sort of understand where I'm coming from, right? Partner, hearing you say that out loud is kind of depressing. Shut up. After a few moments of silence, Drake suddenly spoke up. Someone approaching at 3 o'clock. Issei looked up just as the person walked up to him. She was cute in a very girly sort of way with violet eyes, long black hair that reached her waist. She was wearing a school uniform that he had never seen before, so she was obviously not from Kuo Academy. "Hey, are you Haidu Issei-kun?" she asked. "Yes," Issei replied. "Ah, that's great. So, Issei-kun, do you have a guy girlfriend?" Her voice had a timid quality to it. "How can this be? Can it actually be a confession from a girl?" Issei thought, but out loud he said. "And no, not really." "Really, that's great. Well, would you please go out with me?" "Huh?" was Issei's intelligent reply. "See, since you don't have a girlfriend, would you please go out with me?" The last part was said rather loudly. "Oh, of course. But who are you anyway?" The girl blushed, rather cutely in Issei's opinion, and said, "I'm sorry. My name is Yuma, Amano Yuma." After exchanging numbers, Yuma waved at Issei before going back the way she came from. After Issei made sure that Yuma was out of earshot, he let out a loud whoop. "Woohoo. I got a girlfriend, I got a girlfriend. Hi to Issei, actually got a girlfriend." Brake's voice stopped Issei, who was now doing a weird dance in the middle of the bridge. "Boy, partner, I know you're happy and all, but you do know what she is, right?" But Issei just waved his concerns away. "Of course I know, but that's not really important. What's important is that she is now my girlfriend, and what's more, she was the one who asked me." And so with a happy laugh, Issei went on his way home, his senses never once leaving the short white-haired devil who was observing him and his conversation with the fallen angel since the moment he left school. "You do know that there is a big chance that she's going on a date with you to kill you, right?" "Shut up, Drake, this is my first date. I'll amaze her so much that she'll fall in love with me so much that she can't kill me." "You do know that sounded like you really are sure that she'll kill you, right?" "Shut up. Told you so." The morning after his meeting with Yuma, she and Issei walked to school together, surprising Mitsuda and Motohama, who still wouldn't acknowledge that the two were a couple. Drake was conspicuously absent the whole day. When the two were left alone, Yuma asked Issei on a date this Saturday, which happened to be today. "Still, even if she's going to try and kill me, I won't let her. I mean, this is just my first date and it would suck if I die a virgin, you know. Besides, I like my life too much to just give it up." Issei, finally finished dressing up, observed himself in the mirror. He was currently wearing a black polo shirt, a gray jacket over that, black pants and new dress shoes. He bought it specifically for a special occasion and his first date definitely qualified. But he yelled, "I'm leaving." At his parents', he went out for his date. Because of his excitement, he headed out an hour early at their designated meeting point. He let himself relax and observed what was going on around him. "Greg, status?" "Nothing, there are no traps, no ambushes. I feel no more mana in the air, that's normal, and no energy signature that feels like, oh wait, there's one heading this way. Please take this." The voice came from a young lady cosplaying as what looked like a devil, which isn't that far from the truth, now that he thought about it. She handed him a devil's summoning circle, which was probably from one of the two devils overlooking the town. Issei examined it closely before pocketing it. From what knew about devils, they used these summoning circles to go to humans, granting their desires and making contracts with them. He stuck it in his pocket. It may be useful to have a summoning circle just in case. "Issei-kun." Issei looked up and saw Yuma running towards him. She was wearing a cute pink top along with a skirt and a small bag. She stopped in front of him asking, "Did you wait for me long?" "No, I only just got here actually," Issei said with a smile, but in his mind he was dancing in joy. "I always wanted to say that." After that their date began. It was a pretty standard date. They went window shopping in the local mall, they ate at a nearby family restaurant, Issei even bought her a small bracelet. Finally it was dusk, and Yuma asked, "Net Issei-kun, can we go back to the park? I want to show you something." Issei nodded, making an effort to hide his grin. This is it. The perfect end to a date. They walked towards the park, stopping at the front of a fountain. Yuma spoke up. "Net Issei-kun, can I make a request of you?" "Well, what is it, Yuma-chan?" Issei said, smiling but subtly, unconsciously tensing himself as he felt the slight killing intent radiating of his date. She turned around, smiling. "Will you die for me?" The moment she said that, she transformed, her clothes ripping apart to be replaced by what looked like leather bondage gear that barely covered the important parts. Her hands were covered by black gloves that reached her elbows, her right shoulder was now sporting a pauldron covered with spikes, and her legs were covered by black stockings that reached mid-thigh, and finally she grew black wings that ripped of her back. All in all, she perfectly embodied what a fallen angel should look like. It also means she looked like she was ripped straight off a teenage boy's wet dream. She held out her hand and a spear of light formed around it. She raised it, preparing to throw it at Issei, but what? He was already gone. Where is he? She looked around shrieking, her now mature-sounding voice carrying a hint of anger and disbelief. How could he disappear in the short time she looked away? This really sucks. My first date and my girlfriend already tries to kill me. I really am unlucky. Uma's, or should I say, Rainer's eyes widened before turning around to throw her spear at where the voice came from. Issei dodged it with ease, just barely moving his head, allowing it to harmlessly strike the ground behind him. What are you? Rainer said, her voice wary. This again? Fine, I'm just a normal human. Bullshit. She snarled. A normal human shouldn't have been able to dodge her attack, much less disappear from her sight in the short window she looked away. How rude. I answer your question and you doubt my honesty. Issei said with a careless shrug. What I want to know is what you're doing. I don't think I did anything that deserves me being killed. Rainer's compassed herself, readying another spear of light. You are too dangerous. If you want to blame someone, blame the god who put the sacred gear inside you. And with that she rushed at him, fully intent on running him through. Too bad Issei didn't plan on dying today. Issei sidestepped out of the way, the spear missing him by inches. He grabbed the offending arm before twisting it, forcing the fallen angel down into the pavement below. Rainer struggled furiously, but Issei held on with a strength that a human should not have. Staring down at his captive, Issei spoke out loud. Greg, what do? I can't just let her go, she would go to her superiors and alert them of me. And I don't want to kill her, it would cause too much suspicion. Besides, it would be in bad taste if I killed my first girlfriend just after our first date, he thought. How about erasing her memory? It may not solve all your problems, but it may be enough that the Fallen should just ignore you. But what about if they ask her about her mission? I see. Then how about altering her memories instead of erasing it? It would be simpler, easier and poses less risk. Huh. That could work. Unheard by Issei or Drake, Rainer was still thrashing around fruitlessly, yelling, who the hell are you talking to all the while? Sorry Uma-chan, nothing personal, but you did just try to kill me. So I'm gonna have to do something in you, and why am I explaining myself to you? You're just going to forget this anyway. And with that, Rainer's vision turned to black, and when she would gain consciousness several hours later, she would have heavily altered memories about the events that transpired that day. Meanwhile at the Occult Research Club, a tense atmosphere hung in the air. He didn't use the summoning circle. Akeno was the first one to speak just as the clock chimed 9 o'clock. I know. Was Ria's terse reply. What are you going to do about it? Udo, please inform Sona about his death. Let her do what needs to be done. This was the first time that her intuition was wrong. Still, she was a devil and even though she might not like it, she should learn to expect such outcomes. Yes, but you. However, she could not help but feel guilty about it. A precious life that she could save had died, simply because of poor circumstance. Issei walked through the gates of the school, yawning as he did so. Last night sucked. He had to go and alter the memory of a sentient being, something he was never really comfortable with. As the mind was a delicate thing, he had to take a few hours to make sure that it couldn't be traced back to him and won't damage the Fallen's mind. When he went home, his parents looked like they were crying and when they saw him, held him like he just came back from the dead. Weird. After walking for quite a while he finally opened the door of his classroom. Issei Haidu's death came as quite a shock. He was greeted with shocked looks from both the teachers and the students. Haidu? What are you doing here? The homeroom teacher stared at him, mouth gaping open. This is my class, sensei. Why shouldn't I be here? Issei said, quite puzzled by this turn of events. Boo, but the student council said. Issei simply sighed, too tired to even try and understand what was happening. When he reached his seat, he found that it had a vase not unlike those placed in graves. Is this what this is all about? I'm not sure about what you heard, but I'm still alive. Yes, but we received news that you died yesterday due to a car accident and I'll just inform the student council about you. The teacher said, moving to the door, but before he could have the chance to, it slammed open by itself. Standing on the other side was a girl with long crimson hair who searched the room until her eyes landed on Issei. She sped towards him, grabbing him by his collar, bringing her beautiful face close against his. Come with me. With those words, she dragged him by his uniform and out the classroom. What the hell is going on? See Akeno, I told you there was something special about him. Issei was currently inside the old school building which is also the clubroom of the All Devil Occult Research Club. He was currently sitting on a very expensive looking sofa with a beautiful Ria's Gremory holding onto his right hand eagerly. In front of him was Himejima Akeno, a third-year student with a very buxom figure, long black hair held up in a ponytail by an orange ribbon and violet eyes. With her appearance and personality, she could be considered as a Yamato Nadeshiko. In a small corner on the room, eating sweets was Taoju Kaneko, a first-year girl with short white hair, held by a cat-shaped hairpin and hazel eyes, staring at him intently, observing him. And finally, the person leaning against the wall behind him was a blonde pretty boy, Kibayudo. Issei, curious about what they wanted, decided to take a gamble. Are you after my virginity? No, you pervert. Kaneko's voice, a cold monotone, made Issei flop down in despair at the instant rejection. Deciding to try again. So, why am I here? Rias now looked at him asking. Your name is Haidu Issei, correct? Yes. What are you? I'm not sure how to respond to that. No, you misunderstand. I mean, how did you manage to survive against that fallen angel last night? Issei paused, looking at them critically, before saying, fallen angel, huh? Rias groaned, irritated by the lack of proper response. Ara. But you, he refuses to answer. Akeno said, her cherry red lips drawn back in a smile. I could beat it out of him. Kaneko offered. However, a little girl like you? Issei said, curious. After all, this was his first time meeting against devils this close. So it may be possible that she really could make do with her threat. His thoughts were confirmed a second later when Kaneko's grip made a nearby metal statue crumple in her hands like tin can. It was made more effective by the glare sent his way. That's scary. What does the student council think about him? Akeno asked, curious about the other devil managing the town. Well, Sona wants him too, but I managed to talk her out of it. So you have decided to make him one of us now. Rias grinned at her queen. Of course. At this point Issei decided to try his luck again. What are you talking about? Rias and Akeno looked at each other before returning to the only human there. Hey, Issei-kun, if you were given the chance, would you become a devil? At this point Issei was now trying not show his nervousness. Devil? Yes, devil. Rias confirmed. Every one of us here is a devil. But not everyone stood up, unfurling their wings as they did so. This is what we're talking about. Leathery black wings appeared on their backs, showing to the world their status as devils. Rias expected a lot of things when they shone their wings. Shock, awe, fear, even greed. What she did not expect was for him to simply stare at their wings curiously. Huh. So these are devil wings. Fascinating. The occult research club looked at each other in bewilderment. No reaction at all was a little uncommon. So I take it you have seen devils before? Kiba asked. That depends. Do you consider succubus as devils? Rias answered. No. How about demons? No. Demons are commonly mistaken for devils, but we're not the same. Vampires? No. Yakai? No. Huh. Okay. Rias simply stared at him incredulously. Just like that? You accept that we're devils just like that? Of course I do. I've met some of you before anyway. So, why did you act clueless at the beginning? I wanted to screw with you. Issei said with absolutely no remorse or shame. I see. Just then Issei's phone rang. Sorry, but I have to go now. Taking his things, he went out the room, leaving the devils alone. When Issei left, Rias asked them. So what are your thoughts about him? After a few moments of contemplating, Kiba spoke up. I think that he is hiding something from us, though that's not a surprise, given that we have just met him. Kiba said. I think that Issei-kun is a very interesting person. Akeno voiced out her thoughts. They turned towards Kaneko, who was thinking deeply. Kaneko-chan. What did you think about Issei-kun? Nekomata hesitated before going on with her thoughts. But I think he knows Senjutsu. Stunned silence followed that statement, but the rook just forged on. I tried and sensed, and what I found was natural energy and a lot of it too. But I also saw that he was human. It just normal humans should not have that much in their bodies. Kaneko shook her head and began to think about the strange human. After that, the room stayed silent, each having their own thoughts. Then Rias finally realized something. I forgot to ask him for his answer. How did you manage to get out of that one? Drake my friend, it is an essential skill to be able to bullshit your way out of any situation you might find yourself in, especially if it concerns the supernatural. Issei, not in the mood to go back to class, was now inside a convenience store despite it being school hours. It was easy to bypass the guards of the school. After all, who would expect a student to jump over the 3-meter wall surrounding the school? Still, they are devils, and you manage to attract not only them but the fallen angels as well. At this rate, you can't hide forever, you know. You need to make a decision on what to do. Even you can't match up against those odds. Sigh. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. So, how are you going to get out of this now? Shut up, Drake. After buying his manga, he was walking home when he suddenly dodged a spear of light that came from the man in front of him. He was dressed in a grey trench coat with a matching fedora with his black feathered wings flapping behind him. He looked down at Issei from the sky with a sneer on his face. Oh ho, what do we have here? Rainer said that she killed you. Fuck. I did not think that through. It doesn't matter, I'll just have to finish the job myself. And with that, he reared back, once again throwing a spear at him, and Issei, once again, dodged it by rolling to the side. Wait. Why do you guys want to kill me anyway? It's not like I did anything to you. The Fallen, amazingly enough, lowered his spear to answer his question. It's because you have a dangerous sacred gear inside you, one that can potentially harm us. I don't know why I even bother, you'll be dead in a few moments anyway. Issei, after hearing his answer, could not help but think how cliché. Sacred gears were relics of power, granted to humans by the god from the Bible, in order to give humans a fighting chance against supernatural beings. These were what enabled those called miracles in this world. But he shouldn't let an enemy know that he knew, so he did that by doing the only way he knows. Act stupid. What the hell are those? You shouldn't bother. A human like you should just die. The fallen angel renewed his assault with vigor, throwing even more spears of light at him. Oh shit. Issei exclaimed as a particularly close spear grazed his shirt, ripping open a hole in his shirt. Damn it, human. You're pissing me off. Stop dodging and just die. With the full force of his killing intent, he summoned a spear, different in the fact that it was now blue and looked and felt far more lethal than the yellow ones he had been using until now. He charged against Issei, but Issei didn't see that. The moment he felt the killing intent, he was in another place. The stench of blood was overpowering, the ring of steel against steel deafening. Cries of pain and anger were heard all throughout the battlefield, and in the middle of it all stood a child. He looked no older than 10 or 11, yet was in a field that was ripped straight from a nightmare. He ripped off his dagger from the throat of his enemy when he felt a burst of killing intent behind him. He turned around just as he saw a spear head straight for his throat, and Onisek could not understand what just happened. The moment he used his best weapon, a blue spear of light capable of piercing even solid steel itself, he suddenly found himself on the ground, his face pressed against the pavement below. He could not understand. He was fighting a human, for God's sake. He was a fallen angel, one who participated in the Great War of the Three Factions and lived to tell the tale. Yet here he was defeated by a human boy, no older than 17, defeated him. But the worst thing was, he didn't even see the boy move. One minute he was rushing the human, the next he was in his present situation. His body pressed against the pavement, the boy's knee against the small of his back, and his hands holding the fallen's right arm in such a way that with one movement, he could snap it on the elbow, and with another he could break his shoulder. Onisek only had one thought. Sanofovich. Issei's eyes were wide as he stared at his captive. He hadn't meant to do that. He felt danger and he reacted purely out of reflex. He twitched when he felt the telltale shift of magic in the air that indicated a magic circle being used. Haidu-san. Issei resisted the urge to groan. Great, just what he needed. An audience. As he was distracted by the appearance of a group of devils, the fallen took the chance to get out of the lock, flying straight into the sky. The group of devils, I think I may have overstayed my welcome. But as he was flying away, he paused long enough to stare straight at Issei's eyes and said, "My name is Onisek. Remember that, human." His piece said, he finally disappeared off to God knows where. Issei sighed before turning to the devils behind him. Haidu-san. Yeah. What just happened? I can't tell you that. So, bye. With those elegant parting words, Issei ran off. Hey Mitsuda, Motohama. Issei greeted his friends as he entered his classroom. Hey Issei. What happened yesterday? Yeah, after Ria's Gremory dragged you away, you never came back. Issei just shrugged. She was just curious. She's the president of the Occult Research Club, so when she heard the news that I died but I came here, she thought it concerned the supernatural. Yeah, it surprised me to hear that you died. Nearly gave Sensei a heart attack when you walked through that door. Yeah, but I'm alive. And right now, I simply want to relax and forget my troubles. Mitsuda grinned. I know the perfect way to make you relax. What is it? Issei asked, curious in spite of himself. Motohama suddenly stood up, grabbing something from his pocket as he did so. This. Ecchi Paradise 7 Specials. What? The super rare one with Hana-sama in it. Would you like to watch it with us, Issei? We'll enjoy it during our special gentleman's time after school. Mitsuda, Motohama. What did I do to deserve friends such as you? Issei said, tears running down his cheeks. Issei, you should understand we are friends. We shall stick together no matter what happens. Of course, Issei. We are brothers, are we not? Just as they were rejoicing like the idiots they were, a voice stopped them cold. Issei. Haidu Issei-san. Are you here? It was Ria's Gremory, who was looking for him. Oni-sama. Why is he calling for that worthless trash? The girls were muttering to themselves again, while his friends, Issei. What the hell? Why is Ria's Gremory looking for you? Seemed to forget those words that they were saying just a moment ago. Issei finally answered. Senpai. Haidu Issei, come with me. But I still have classes. Don't make me drag you again. So I don't have a choice anyway. Yup. With a cheerful smile, Riaz walked out the door with Issei reluctantly following a few steps behind. Go to hell, Issei. Screw you, Issei. Brothers in perversity my ass. Then again, he would feel the same if any of them were with one of the two great one-isamas of Kuo Academy. Issei Haidu, I want you to join my peerage. Ria said those words as she sat behind her rather large desk. Why me? Because you have something special inside of you, something called a sacred gear. But besides, if you don't the fallen angels will keep on attacking you. Even if you could defend yourself, you're still human and they might get a lucky shot. You know what they say. It only takes one. That was true. Issei knew that better than almost anyone else. But, if you join my peerage, I will be able to protect you much more easily. Much more convenient, don't you think? She said with a charming smile, and Issei felt his heart throb at the sight. But what's the catch? Something like this has got to have one right. To be part of my peerage, you have to be resurrected as a devil. Resurrected? Ah, don't worry, we devils can resurrect people using this. Riaz took out ruby red pawn from underneath the table as she said that. This is called an evil piece. With this, you will become part of my peerage and under my protection as a grimoire. Besides, if you work hard enough, you might become a high-level devil and then you'll have your very own harem. Seriously? Issei said, shocked out of his mind. It was a tempting offer, being able to relax without the threat of dying hanging over him, being with beauties every day, and he might even get his own harem one day. But, I can't accept. What? So you refuse? Riaz looked disappointed by his answer. No. It's just, I really don't know anything about devils, and since this is my life we're talking about you know. Issei shrugged helplessly. Riaz nodded. I understand. You want to make sure. Then how about you join our club and see what we devils do, then you can make a decision. In return, we'll protect you from those fallen angels. Agreed. Agreed. Great. Riaz said, looking delighted. Then I suppose we should introduce ourselves. My name is Riaz Grimoire, it's a pleasure to meet you Issei-kun. She said with a formal bow befitting a noble like her. The other members, who have been silent until now, stepped forward to introduce themselves. Hello, I'm Akeno Himejima, please take care of me. She said, bowing elegantly. Kaneko Taoju. The white-haired girl said tersely, before going back to her sweets. I'm Kibayu Udo. Issei-kun, I hope we get along well okay. The blonde said with a prince-like smile. I'm Issei Haidu, nice to meet you. Whatever happens from now, Issei can only be sure of one thing. It's going to be a lot more lively from here on out. Chapter 2. Coincidence or fate? Issei pedaled furiously, determined to reach his first ever summon. It was his first week as a temporary devil, and so far, he was liking it. The club members were nice and willing to help him understand what it meant to be a devil. He still remembered the lecture the day after he joined the club. Flashback. Now Issei, since you are a club member, it's my responsibility to help you adapt. What would you like to know about us devils? Riaz asked as she sat in front of her desk, sipping at Akeno's tea all the while. In truth, Issei had quite a few questions, but what he wanted to know most was, can I really have my own harem? Riaz chuckled before setting down her tea. Of course, though you may need to be promoted to a high-class devil to do so. High-class devil? What makes a devil a high-class? Riaz began to explain the devil's hierarchy system, as well as their various abilities. Well, to make sure you understand, I'll start from the beginning. As you may have noticed, devils in general look almost like normal humans, except for our wings which we have shown you in the past. All devils have superhuman strength and endurance, not to mention enhanced senses, such as eyesight and hearing. Devils are also nocturnal creatures and can see clearly in the dark. All devils are gifted with the ability of tongues called language, which makes it so a devil can understand any language they hear. Any questions so far? Just one, does the language thing work on stuff like TV or music too? Yes. Issei understood. So that means he can finally understand what those foreign girls are saying in Mitsuda's videos. Thinking about that made Issei grin happily. Okay. Now, devils, no matter what kind, share a common weakness. Anything that has to do with a biblical god can harm us, and if it's powerful enough, or we're exposed longer than we can endure, could potentially kill us. In the same way, light is poisonous for devils because it is a representation of God's power. Issei nodded. He knew firsthand what those spears could do and it wasn't pretty. Devil hierarchy is divided into 4 classes. The highest ones are the ultimate class devils, which consisted of the 4 satans, great kings, archdukes, dukes, princes and princesses and the devil clan heirs. The high-class devils were the marquess, margraves and margraven, viscounts and viscountesses and the barons and baronesses. The mid-class are the baronets and baronesses, and the dames. Finally, the lowest ones are the low-class devil, which you will be if you choose to get reincarnated. The low-class devil huh? I don't think I would be impress women if I have such as low rank. Really? Then you would be surprised to know that Udo is a low-class devil. She said, gesturing to her knight. What? Yes, Issei-kun, I'm just a low-class devil. The blonde said with a smile that probably made 100 panties wet. Damn Bishi. So if I become a devil, then I would become a ladies' man like he is. Yeah. Women wouldn't like a pervert like you. Kaneko's harsh words cut through Issei's rising hope, deflating him like a balloon. Low-class devils can promoted, you know. If you work hard enough, you'll be a high-class devil and receive your own evil pieces and get your own peerage. Since you're their master, you can ask them to do anything you want. Akeno was the one who said that, once more raising Issei's hopes. Really? Then how do I get promoted? Rias was the one who answered. Today, a devil can increase his rank in 3 ways. Contracts, military accomplishments, and the rating games. Contracts are devils doing the wishes of their clients. This includes having a lot of contracts or receiving high-quality ones. It is generally considered as the slowest method and is usually seen as a tradition. Military accomplishments are just that, outstanding acts done in times of great crisis or situations. This is the fastest method, though it is pretty rare considering that the 3 factions is currently at a stalemate and the last conflict happened 20 years ago. The last method is the rating games. This is the most popular path to ascend the hierarchy. The rating game allows for devils to test and show off their skills and abilities against each other in a controlled environment. Performing well will raise your reputation and will lead to promotion. Most devils think that this is the best method to raise your ranking. Now, are you ready to act as a devil? Before I start, can I ask what kind of requests you do? Well, as a high-class devil myself, I usually don't get too many requests. The summoner's wish must be urgent enough to summon me. Because of that my requests usually concerns removing curses or defeat monsters attacking them. Akeno's clients are usually the bosses of companies or rich wives. She does a lot of different work that consists of taking care of the stress of the people in high society. Kaneko does a lot of simple work, from helping a client play a game or to cosplay for a photoshoot. Udo's requests come from older women who want him to reduce their stress by doing things such as Issei, "Are you alright?" Rias asked, concerned about the fact that Issei was trembling. "The hell is with you? Is that why Yara is so popular? You're good looking, have a prince-like personality and you can even cook. Yara the kind of person I won't introduce my girlfriend to." Everyone stared at Issei during his rant. Issei coughed, feeling awkward now that they were staring at him. "Well, now that you're a temporary devil, you can start by giving these summoning circles to those who may want to summon us." As Issei stared at the stack of papers, he only had one thought. The path to being a high-class devil sure is long. Flashback end. And so, here he was now, riding his bike to a contractor who wanted Kaneko, who was unfortunately busy managing her other of that. Rias thought that this was the perfect opportunity to introduce him to the world of devils. He stared at the apartment of his first contractor. He felt oddly nervous. He walked up to the door and knocked on it. A few seconds later, the door opened revealing a man with long hair and glasses. He pretty much looked like an otaku should, with an unshaven face, unkempt hair, and basically looked like he had no regard for his appearance. He opened his mouth to greet him, but before he could even get the first syllable out, the man slammed the door in his face. Issei blinked. "What the hell? What the hell was that for? Go away. I don't want to buy any of your crap. I'm not a freaking salesman. I'm the one you summoned, you twat." The door opened, the man's head poking out. "Really, you're a devil?" There was a note of doubt in his voice. "Well, more like a temp, but I'm going to do what you wish." The door, once again, slammed into his face, the contractor's voice sounding muffled. "Go away. I wanted Kaneko-chan, not you." "Sucks to be you then. She's busy." "Go home then, I don't want some guy I don't even know." Issei knocked on the door repeatedly. "Let me in." "Screw you. If you don't, I'm not gonna stop. I can do this for a long time, I'll wait the whole damn night if I have to." "Fine." The door opened and Issei walked through the door. What greeted him was a whole room filled with anime-related goods. Nice place you got here. So what can you do anyway?" "I don't know. Depends on your wish I guess. I highly doubt you can do what I wish." Saying that, the otaku brought out a uniform. A uniform which looked very familiar. Isn't that?" "Yes it is, it's the North High uniform, winter edition. I wanted Kaneko-chan to cosplay as Yuki and make her carry me in her arms." That's not a bad idea. She does look a lot like Nagato. See?" The man was grinning, no doubt proud of himself at his rather genius idea. "You're a genius. Thank you. What's your name anyway?" "Haidu Urasawa." And with those words, a special bond was formed. One who acknowledged each other as comrades in arms, like those in manga. "Still, I don't really think that you could grant me my wish. I don't really want to." Issei shuddered. After that particular event in his past, he didn't have any intention of dressing like a woman again, especially. "Don't go there, Issei, bad thought, bad thoughts." "So what can you do?" "I can make my left hand talk." "Oh? I didn't think you were the type to practice ventriloquism." "Ventriloquism? Sure, let's go with that." "Oi Drake, wake up." "The hell? Why did you wake me up?" "Talk to the human." Oh, that is quite impressive. Issei grinned at Morisawa. Isn't it? Here, let me show you more. You woke me up to talk to a human. Well, yeah. I don't know what to do. That's why you woke me up? Because you don't know what to show a human. Shut up, Dreg. Fine, I don't have any thighs that Dragon Ball. Morisawa looked at where Issei's gaze was at, landing on his, admittedly, impressive collection. Oh ho ho, so you appreciate the beauty that is Dragon Ball, huh? Appreciate. I love it. When I first saw it, I even attempted to do a Kamehameha wave. That's all. Well, when it first came out, I even tried to call on my Super Saiyan powers. Oh yeah? Well, Dreg sighed as his partner got into one of the stupidest arguments he had ever seen or heard. Please wake up. If you don't, then I'll have to kiss you. Please wake up. If you don't, then I'll have to kiss you. Please. Issei groaned as he woke up, reaching for his alarm clock as he did so. Ian. Issei's eyes snapped open, his mind trying to process what he had just heard. That wasn't his alarm clock. Issei slowly turned his gaze, where a beautiful sight greeted him. Crimson red hair sprawled behind her, Ria's Gremory was laying down right next to him, wearing absolutely nothing, naked as the day she was born. Issei, being the Casanova he is, only said one thing. BLHRFGHRGTH. Rias giggled, the sound like the tinkling of bells. But what just happened? Issei said, desperate to know. Did he do it? Did he finally have sex? He wanted to actually remember his first time, damn it. Ria smiled. Ah, you're calling me Butchu. Does that mean that you are getting closer to making your decision? The voice interrupted his response. Issei. Are you awake yet? Why did you come home so late? You better have a good reason to do so. Ah. Damn it, Mom. Don't come up yet. Butchu. Please wear some clothes. Are you masturbating again? Please stop, it's way too early in the morning. For the door opened, and when Issei's mother stepped in, her mouth immediately snapped shut at the sight before her. Her son in bed with a red-haired foreigner. Good morning, Akasama. Rias greeted with her traditional smile. I'm sorry for interrupting. Her voice was an odd monotone before slowly closing the door. The sound of footsteps running down the stairs reached the pair on the bed. Otu-san. Issei, he, this foreigner, she and Issei. Aka-san, slow down, what's with Issei and foreigners? It's SE sex. What? It's true. Are you sure that was Issei? I mean, he couldn't possibly be with a woman. Rias turned to Issei with a smile. Issei, I forgot to ask, silly me. May I call you Issei? At Issei's nod she smiled radiantly. Well then, Issei, please take care of me. Issei felt his heart skip a bit. Please wake up. If you don't, then I'll have to kiss you. Please wake up. If you don't, then I'll have to kiss you. Please. After they got the misunderstanding cleared up, Issei and Rias went out to go to school. The reactions, of course, were a little mixed. What? One-sama, why are you walking with that brute? You pervert. Get away from our One-sama. Please, not him, not him. What the hell is going on? Actually, scratch that. Everyone pretty much hated Issei's guts for daring to walk with their precious One-sama. In hindsight, Issei should have expected this. Him, one of the three great perverts, together with the school's most popular student. Still, that didn't stop Issei from enjoying the jealous looks and angry glares he received from the men, though he could do with a little less death threats from the girls. Still, even with the shouts going on, he couldn't help but think about what happened at breakfast this morning. At the table, his parents were acting quite oddly. They seemed a little off, speaking unnaturally and moving limply, like they were sick or something. It made Issei concerned for his parents, but Rias quickly assured him that it wasn't anything to worry about, that it was temporary and would wear off quickly. Well, goodbye, Issei, I'll send someone to get you, okay? After saying that, Rias left for her own classes. The moment she left, a punch caught him on the back of his head, nearly making him tumble forward straight into the pillars at the entrance. Kuo had a unique design, Issei thought rather deliriously. It was of a high-class building, complete with a huge arching entrance and rising pillars made of marble. Issei. A voice yelled, snapping Issei out of his wandering thoughts. It was Mitsuda, with Motohama not far behind, twin glares of hate aimed at him. Why the hell were you walking with Gremory-senpai? Yeah, Issei, why? By now, the whole courtyard was listening, waiting, no demanding an explanation. As the three idiots began to yell at each other, two high-class devils were talking to each other. Hello, Sona. Greetings, Rias. So, he's the one. This is the first time I've actually seen him up close. That was Sona, Ria's childhood friend. She was a woman around Ria's age. With her short no-nonsense styled hair and sharp violet eyes complete with red-rimmed glasses, she pretty much looked like what a strict student council president should look like. Sona was also a high-class devil, heir of the Citri clan, and the student council president of Kuo Academy, which was made up of her own peerage. Rias nodded at Sona's words. Yes, he is. When I first saw him, I instantly knew that he was special. A unique case as it were. But enough about that, do you have what it is I asked of you? Sona inclined her head, taking out a short folder. Yes, and from what I've seen, the boy really does seem quite unique. He has no records at all from preschool or grade school. I even looked deeper into it and he has no birth certificate at all. Riaz was intrigued. Anything that had to do with her prospective pawn was enough to rouse her curiosity, particularly his past. What do you mean no records? She turned around to look at the folder in Sona's hands. Sure enough, there was nothing there apart from a few leaves of paper, no more than 10. The only real info they had was apparently his rather erratic behavior a year ago, where he signed up for every club in the school, excelled in them, then immediately quitting after that. I mean nothing. No pictures, friends that knew him, any sort of thing that could connect him to anything. Even when I looked for everything there is under one Haidu essay, there was nothing apart from adoption papers a year ago. Sona closed the folder with a snap. And that's it. No records earlier than that. It's like he didn't exist before high school. I even asked his parents, but they refused to say anything about him. Riaz contemplated what she just heard. Maybe she could get Issei to open up to them. Riaz stared at the source of her confusion thoughtfully, who was now putting his two friends in an headlock. Issei sat at his table alone, drawing on a sketchpad. I wonder who she's going to send, I hope it's Akeno-senpai. Oh. Maybe it's Kaneko-chan. When he heard the girls go Kaya. He knew that his prayer went unheard by whatever god was listening. Hello, Issei-kun. Of course she would send the handsome one. Issei glared at the blonde, who approached him with a smile. What? First one Isama, then Kiba-kun. What's going on with you Haidu? Kiba-kun, please get away from him. He'll corrupt you with his perversity. Kiba ignored the warning of the girls and said to Issei. Issei-kun, but you sent me here to get you. Please come with me. Issei stood up, putting his sketchpad back in his bag. When he walked with Kiba, the girls began to shout things like, he'll corrupt you Kiba-kun. And Haidu, I'll never forgive you if Kiba-kun becomes a pervert. Sigh. Why do girls keep sprouting crap like that? Kiba didn't answer, instead asking a question of his own. Issei-kun, what do you think about being a temporary devil? Issei thought hard. They were kind to him, were willing to help and assist him. All in all, they were quite different from the other devils he had encountered in the past. It's nice. Still, it's sad that I couldn't even get a contract last night. It's not really unexpected you know, given that you aren't really a devil yet. Ah, I forgot about that. No, never mind that, what's it like being summoned by so many women? It's okay I guess. That response actually made Issei stop to gawk at him. Okay? He gets to be summoned by girls who specifically ask for him and it's just okay. Is this what being popular is like? Ah, we're here. Opening the door, Kiba led Issei to the club room. There, sitting on the couch, eating some sweets, was Tauju Kaneko. With snow-white skin, a petite body, a perfect lowly face, she looked so much like a porcelain doll that Issei, who wasn't a lolicon, could not help but stare at her appreciating her appeal. Ah, but you, here are your clothes. Thank you Akeno. What? There's even a shower here. I'm really glad that I joined this club. How come I never noticed this before? Wriggling around with joy, Issei began to look forward to occasions such as this. He didn't know what could make him sad after this development. What a disgusting face. Well those words did it. He opened his mouth to say something, but Akeno seemed to finally take note of his presence. Ara, what do we have here? If it isn't our newest member. But the curvy and voluptuous, coupled with her mature presence, she was pretty much a perfect Yamato Nadeshiko. How was your job last night? It wasn't too hard was it? Ah, it was okay. Issei said, rubbing the back of his head with a shy grin. Really? Then that's good. She really is a Yamato Nadeshiko. Riaz came out the shower, wearing the Kuo Academy uniform, toweling off the water in her hair. Thank you for waiting for me. I had to shower since I spent the night in your house. It was no trouble. So, what did you think about your experience being a temporary devil? Issei thought back to last, spending time with a fellow otaku, talking about the joys of an anime game. It was different from what I expected, though not really unpleasant. Still I expected something more in truth, Issei expected that he will be summoned by a hot woman and do this and that to her. Issei tried to hide his perverted grin. Ara, are you perhaps thinking about some naughty stuff? We don't really do requests like that, those who accept are specialists and experienced devils. Pervert. Damn it. He was found out. Riaz spoke, bringing them back to business. Now that's cleared up, how about showing us your sacred gear? The what? Sacred gear Riaz asked. What's that? We know that you have one you know. A sacred gear that is. Well, it's just, I am aware that you may not trust us yet, but please listen to my request. It's nothing special really. Still, I'm curious to see what sacred gear you have. Issei sighed before acquiescing to her request. Boy Drake, can you make it look like a twice critical? Don't worry partner, I'll do it, thanks. Satisfied, Issei raised his left arm and his boosted appeared, looking for all the world like a simple twice critical. Riaz raised an elegant eyebrow at the sacred gear, looking at it intensely. Issei shrugged at her gaze awkwardly. See? I told you it's not really anything to be proud about. With that Issei dismissed his gauntlet, leaving his human arm free and unburdened. Don't say that, even having any sacred gear is lucky, much less a dragon type like yours. With enough training, you may even get powerful enough to easily be promoted. So Issei, I expect great thing from you. Riaz said with a smile. Miltan. Is this one of those goth girls? Yeah, I sure hope so. Issei was answering another request. He was given this location, and just his luck, he actually received a female contractor this time. He was in front of the door of a rather large and expensive-looking house in the richer parts of the neighborhood. He rang the doorbell saying, "Hello, I'm the temporary devil you summoned, sorry for the wait. Please wait, the door is locked." Those words were said in a deep, gravelly voice, coupled with deep and heavy footsteps. Shit, is this her father? What the hell do I say? I'm your daughter's boyfriend. Not that being mistaken as a boyfriend is bad. As the footsteps finally reached the door, he looked up with what he hoped was a charming smile. And why-oh, Issei felt his smile froze. The hell? What the fuck is that? Standing in front of him was the most terrifying thing he has ever had the misfortune to see. Arms that looked like it could punch through steel, thighs that looked like it was carved from stone, and a face that belonged to a mafia member was fitted into a very skimpy magical girl costume, complete with a wig. Faced with such a sight, Issei could do nothing but tremble in its presence. I came here to grant your wish. Dear God, it took all of his willpower not to run away from the grotesque sight. Ah. Then please, turn Miltan into a magical girl Nyo, he said, striking a pose, his skirt raising flipping up as he did so. Oh shit, was that a fucking bulge? It's fucking huge. Is he carrying a fucking potato in his panties? Shit, I need to fix this delusional magical girl, or I might go insane. Well, have you tried going to another planet? Preferably where the inhabitants are blind. Miltan has already tried that Nyo, but they couldn't give me powers. The hell he went. Then how the hell could I fix this thing in front of me if even they couldn't manage to do it? I'm sorry, but I can't give you powers. That was the wrong thing to say. Miltan began to flex his muscles, making them bulge even further. Issei didn't even know how that was possible. And roared out in a voice that didn't belong to a magical girl, "Give me my magical girl powers." Issei sobbed. Unknown to Issei, his fellow club members were currently in a meeting about him. So, now that you all got a close look at him, what do you think? Akeno was the first one to respond. But I think he may know a lot more than he let on. Riaz made an affirmative gesture. Yes, I got the same feeling from him too. Udo put out his own thoughts. His sacred gear is a twice critical no. I honestly expected something more from a person like him. Riaz slowly began to recall what was written in one of those books she read at the Gremory library. It was a twice critical, or at least, took the form of one. Maybe, just maybe, it's the boosted gear. Kaneko said in her usual monotone voice. A Longinus wielder. Ara, such a powerful weapon hiding underneath our noses the whole time. Though it does fit the description. A crimson red gauntlet, the Red Dragon Emperor. Riaz picked up from where her queen left off. And from the way he holds himself, I think he knows what it is, and more importantly, how to use it. So why would he lie about something like that? Isn't it something that you should be proud of, the fact that you were chosen by faith to wield one of only 13 Longinus in the world? Kiba concluded. After a few minutes of silence, Kaneko was the one who came up with a plausible explanation. Maybe his past. He doesn't want anyone to know about it. Maybe. He doesn't really say anything about his past, does he? That may explain all of it. Riaz shook her head lightly. Well, until we can confirm it, this is just a lot of empty guesswork. Akeno asked. So, but what do you think? I still want him, regardless of his past. If he really is what we think he is, then he may be able to help me get out of my marriage with Riser. All of her peerage pieces agreed with her. Issei sighed despondently as he trudged slowly down the road. He never got to fulfill Miltan's wish, though it's not like he had the power to do so. In the end, the scary-ass man made him watch his video with him, something called Magical Girl Milky Spiral 7 with him. It was actually a pretty good watch, though he didn't get to watch leisurely because of Miltan, who was copying whatever Milky Tan did. It was enough to tire him physically and mentally. That, along with the memories of him in similar clothes, made him skip school altogether and just sit down on the park. Sitting down on the bench looking up at the sky. So peaceful. I want to stay like this forever. The day's so nice and the wind feels so good. Is this what I missed during my childhood? Though thinking about it, you couldn't really call it that anyway. No troubles to think about, no problems needed to be solved, and no enemy wanting to tear out my entrails and feed it to me. A lot happened in just 3 years, huh? Those days were. Issei's thoughts were cut off by a cute Hawa. Coming from the girl in front of him. And was that white panties? A blonde girl with white panties. This is so great. Shaking off those thoughts, Issei went to help the girl. Hey, are you alright? The blonde looked up at him, emerald green eyes sparkling in the sun. Thank you very much. As she took the offered hand, a particularly strong gust of wind blew off her headdress, revealing her whole features to Issei. She was a very cute girl, with her long blonde hair flowing all the way down to her back, with split bangs over her forehead and a single strand sticking out from the top, sloping backwards. She was dressed in a dark teal nun outfit with light blue accents, a brown satchel slung on her right hip and brown boots with black straps in an X pattern. Issei could also make out a silver cross hanging around her neck. Something passed over Issei's eyes, distracting him from his observation. He absently caught it and saw that it was a white veil accented with blue. Ooh, why did I trip? Issei shook his head to compose himself after seeing the cute sister pout adorably. Here's your headdress. Oh, thank you. She smiled gratefully, and Issei resisted the urge to blush. He failed. So cute. Let me help you with this. Issei said, finally taking in the side of a suitcase lying open, its contents strewn against the pavement. It's fine, I can get it myself. But Issei waved her off. No, please. I insist. As Issei began to pick up her clothes, he saw something that distracted him and made him pick it up. A panty. White, as expected of his sister. White means that she's pure and his thoughts were interrupted when the sister grabbed it from his hands with a blushing face. I'm sorry. You just saw an unattractive side of me. In what universe is that unattractive? It's actually a very attractive side of you that I just saw. He shook his head wildly, trying to compose himself to stop his grin from reaching creepy level. It reached that level the moment he saw the sister trip and show her panties. And decided to ask a question. Are you on vacation here? No. You see, I've been recently transferred to this town's church, but I don't know where it is. And since I don't really know the language all that well, I was a little embarrassed to ask for directions. Like she said, her Japanese wasn't perfect, far from it actually, with the occasional Italian words sometimes being said between Japanese ones. So Issei took pity on her and spoke on smooth Italian. If you're looking for the church, then I can help you. Would you like me to take you there? You can speak Italian. And you're willing to take me to the church. The Lord really does take care of his sheep. Issei decided not to tell her that fact that he was a potential devil. Well, let's go, sister. Before they took more than a dozen steps, they heard the sound of crying somewhere nearby. They found the source of noise to be a boy about 8 or 9, down on the pavement, cradling his hurt knee. The sister immediately ran to him. She placed her hand on the boy's wound, where green light coalesced, and before the boy's wide eyes, healed it. Issei recognized the light for what it was. A sacred gear. Thank you, Wani-chan. The blonde turned to Issei, her tongue sticking out. Sorry, but I just instinctively helped him. What was that anyway? It's like the cut just went away. Issei asked, curious. He had never seen a sacred gear that can actually be used to help people. It was my healing powers, given to me by God. The girl's smile was bitter even as she kept her smile. He was quite familiar with that look. It was the look one got when you did all you could to help and still fail at your goal. He roared as he brought down his arm on his foe. Cow, get away or I swear I will rip your fucking throat out. His eyes weren't on his opponent though. His eyes weren't on the monsters made by Annihilation Maker, nor were his eyes on the wielder of the Dimension Lost. It wasn't even on the legion of soldiers surrounding them, prepared to attack at a moment's notice. No, his eyes were set firmly on the small childlike being behind all of them. She looked like a young girl with long black hair flowing down until her hips and gray eyes. Even though it can't be seen, she had pointed ears that were hidden by her hair. The child seemed to be looking at the scene with dull eyes, but Issei knew her enough to see the surprise there. Office. Listen to me. They're just using you. They never plan on doing good on their promise. Please, you have to listen to Issei's voice stopped as he stopped the lightning quick thrust aimed right between his eyes. Oh, and what do you plan on doing, Issei? Even you with all your power can't possibly defeat 3 high tier all by yourself. Issei's mouth set into a snarl that promised death and suffering. Oh, I won't just kill you, I'll fucking murder you. Who is about to awaken. We're here. I'm so glad. The church here was on the outskirts of town, with overgrown trees and shrubbery surrounding it. It was a pretty strategic location all in all. That smile on her face when she saw the building was like an angel's, full of purity and innocence. We're here. Then goodbye, Sister San. Hey, please wait. I haven't thanked you for your help yet. Sorry, I wish I could stay, but I have an appointment. That, and the fact that the Occult Research Club would get angry at him if they found out he went inside a church, the headquarters of their natural enemy. But, don't worry, we'll see each other again. Oh yeah, my name's Issei. Hi to Issei. Where are my manners? My name is Asia Argento. Please call me Asia. Ah. Well then, goodbye. Goodbye Issei-san. Waving at the sister, Issei left the church. She's such a kind girl. When he went back to the clubroom, it turned out that a stray devil was found nearby. Strays, devils who have abandoned their masters, were to be destroyed if they were found. According to them, the devil was found in a warehouse on the outskirts of town. When they arrived, the stench of blood was overwhelming, which didn't really help the atmosphere surrounding the place. They stopped at the entrance of the place. Issei, this is a good opportunity for you to learn how a devil fights and what their traits are. Traits. Alright. During the Great War, the numbers of the three sides were reduced by quite a bit. Devils in particular lost a lot of the pure-blooded clans, and so Beelzebub-sama created the evil peace system based on chess. Chess? Issei echoed, puzzled. He didn't know that. Rias nodded as they resumed walking. As you know, there are the king, queen, bishops, knights, rooks and the pawns. Each piece has its own unique trait. Do you get it? I think. So that means that each piece has its own specialties and weaknesses, right? That's right. You're quite smart Issei. Thanks. It's quite popular, in fact, to use evil pieces as competition in raiding games. Aren't raiding games the one used to promote a devil's rank? I knew you were smarter than you let on. Rias said with a smile. Raiding games are usually played like a live-scale chess game, with the evil pieces doing the actual fighting. However, they are so popular that it can affect a devil's standing in the underworld. They walked through the door and instantly, the odor of blood now mingled with the smell of rotting meat. It was enough to make any normal human puke. So, have any of you participated in a raiding game? Akeno shook her head. No, not really. For Butchu to be a participant, she needs to meet certain requirements. She isn't old enough to appear in a proper arena yet. Issei opened his mouth to respond, but a huge rumbling sound cut him off. That was the sound of something huge approaching. Rias opened her mouth and declared. Stray devil visor, we have come to eliminate you. The voice boomed out from the darkness. I smell something foul, yet I also smell something delicious. Is it sweet or is it sour? I really want to taste it. The topless woman appeared in front of them, floating in midair, her lower body hidden in shadows. It would have made Issei excited if he didn't feel the tense atmosphere inside the warehouse. It stepped forward, revealing to the world its whole form. It was a woman with the lower half of a four-legged beast, reminiscent of a centaur, while her hands carried a lance each. He should have been surprised, he really should. But alas, after seeing all kinds of freaky shit in his life, not to mention Meltan, he just couldn't find it in him to be shocked. What an ugly appearance, it's quite fitting for a devil like you. Rias said, her voice mocking, her tone unflinching as she stared at the beast in front of her. What a cunning little girl. I will rip your body apart and color it red like your hair. The monster lunged at them, but Rias merely said, Udo. Yes, but you. Tiba sprinted towards the devil, his sword in hand as he did so. Let's continue from where we left off. Kiba is a knight, and knights have their speed increased. Tiba easily sidestepped a spear thrust and with a quick slash, severed the monster's two hands from her body. And Udo is an excellent swordsman. As the beast began to scream in anger and pain, Rias continued her explanation. As for Kaneko, she is a rook, and a rook's ability is stomp. The monster stomped on Kaneko-chan. Issei couldn't help but worry. After all, this was the tiny little mascot of the occult research club, she couldn't possibly be. What? He monster was actually being lifted up. And Kaneko-chan was the one carrying it. Fly. With those words, she actually threw the big-ass devil straight in the wall. The rook's ability is absolute strength and a very high defense. Issei stared at the white-haired lowly and absently remembered her client's words. I make her carry me around like a princess. Issei swore never to piss her off lest he incur her wrath. Akeno. Butchu, is it my turn yet? Akeno-san was laughing as she walked to the futilely struggling stray. Akeno is the queen, as such she has all the traits of a pawn, knight, bishop, and rook. The queen raised her hand and boom. The next moment's lightning strikes down on the monster. You're still alive. Let's fix that shall we. Another bolt of lightning strikes the monster again. Akeno-san's face while attacking looks scary even though she is smiling. If he didn't know better, Issei would have thought that she was a sadist. But there was no way that was true, right? Akeno's specialty is using magic. She specializes in the elements. Most of all, she is also the ultimate sadist. Oh dear god. Akeno was still attacking the rogue devil, laughing and stroking her cheek while she did so. I'm scared. Don't worry, Issei. Akeno is very kind to her comrades, so you don't have anything to worry about. But you said, however, if you're still so energetic. That means you can take some more, right? But you can't die just yet, my master has to be the one to kill you, okay? That didn't really change the fact that he was scared of the person in front of him who is still laughing very loudly as she tortured the rogue devil. Akeno, stop. So rogue devil-san, do you have any last words? The monster, Visor, groaned piteously. Kill me. Very well. Briaz held out her hand and in front it, a gigantic mass of crimson and black devours the devil's body. Issei, eyes on the spot where the rouge was, muttered. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Issei was quite impressed by the information he gained. However, he suddenly remembered. But you, if I join your peerage, what piece will I be? Well, I wanted you to become my pawn. The pawn huh? Issei smiled as he thought. For someone like me to be a pawn. HMPH, how fitting. Chapter 3. Decisions. Juggernaut Drive. It was the power of the boosted gear and divine dividing. In exchange for the user's life and sanity, it temporarily removes the seals placed on the two heavenly dragons, granting the wielder with the immense strength that made the dragons so powerful. It wasn't enough. Even Issei, without concern for his own well-being and wielding the power capable of killing gods, was simply too young to properly stand against the full might of the Chaos Brigade alone, as evidenced by numerous wounds, scratches and bruises, along with a couple of broken bones he received from fighting the whole force. The dimension lost, allowing one to use mist to transfer anyone and anything to a different dimension. Rumor was it that Georg used it to transfer a whole town and its occupants all at once. Annihilation Maker, capable of making monsters that defied the laws of physics and was limited only by the imagination of the wielder, powerful enough to be capable of destroying the world when used by certain people. The true Longinus, one of the 5 holy relics of the church, the first Longinus, and the god-killing spear that pierced the side of Jesus Christ himself and unquestionably the most powerful sacred gear there is. It spoke highly of Issei's skills that he was able to last 2 hours against them through sheer determination, even injuring them all, with Cao Cao effectively losing his left eye. In Issei's mind, or what was left of it anyway, thought, rather grimly. At least if I die, I left that asshole a reminder of who I am. As Issei began to rear up to fight against the Chaos Brigade again, prepared to go down fighting, a voice cut through his hazy mind, stopping him from his charge. Rival, stop. You've done enough. Be Volley. NYA Securutachin, Volley's right you know. Let us take care of THEM. Yer, Volley, is this your rival? You should have introduced us to him at a better time, not when we're saving him from the Chaos Brigade. Divide. When Volley and his platoon and teachers charged against the army, Issei only had one thought. Volley, please, save her. Well, that isn't a good sign. Issei stated as he woke up, staring straight at the ceiling of his room. It certainly wasn't, dreaming of your failures never was, much less without good reason. It was quite ominous, almost like an omen of bad things to come. As if something like that would happen. Issei scoffed at himself. Honestly, dreams about his past being a warning for his future. His life wasn't an anime, thank you very much. Standing up, he went to ready himself for school that day. He absently looked at the clock. 7:30. Well, that should give him enough time to. Issei's thoughts screeched to a stop. 7:30. He stared at the clock just to be sure. And stared. And stared. 7:30. I'm late for school. After showering and dressing in record time, he ran out the door to go to school. It was a Saturday. Issei stared at the empty gates of the school in front of him. It was a Saturday. Issei nodded sagely, understanding his own mistakes and accepting them for what they were. Yeah, right. The hell, it's a damn Saturday, how the hell did I not know that? Issei roared in anger. It was understandable after all, what kind of complete and utter moron would forgot what day it is? I think I'll just go to the park. Slumped over in post-anger depression, Issei dragged himself to the park. After getting his drinks and sitting down on the bench, he allowed himself to relax. The breeze was cool, the sun hidden behind the clouds, and the atmosphere was peaceful. Office huh? I never did get to know what happened to her. I hope she's okay. Who am I kidding? She's the second most powerful being in our existence, what kind of being could harm her? Still, I hope those guys managed to get our out safely. Issei-san. Oh, Asia. What are you doing here? Didn't you just get assigned to the church yesterday? Well, yes, but I wanted to see Issei-san, so I went here and see if you were here, and you're so as Asia began to, badly, explain herself with an awkward smile, Issei looked at her with fondness. She really is so innocent. She even went here just to see me. Out loud he spoke. I wanted to see you too, Asia. I want to know how you're adjusting to town. Asia opened her mouth to respond, but their stomachs let out simultaneous groans of hunger, reminding the both of them that it was already past lunchtime. The two of them blushed in embarrassment. After a few rather awkward seconds, Issei broke the uncomfortable silence. Would you like to have lunch with me? My treat. Of course. Moo. Issei gazed at Asia as the blonde stared at the menu in confusion. He got that Asia was a rather sheltered girl from the way she acts, but this was just too much. After a few more minutes of trying to order, Issei decided to help her. She'll have the same as me, thank you. When they sat down, Asia was having a mild panic attack when she stared at the burger on her plate. They all know, do they have spoons and forks in here? You don't eat a burger with utensils, you eat them like this. Issei demonstrated, biting into his meal with gusto. Asia's eyes were shining with wonder as she learned something that any child would know. Oh. I didn't know that there was such a different way of eating. She was smiling brightly as she finally started on her own meal. Sheltered life indeed. Issei-san, what's that? The boy turned his gaze towards where Asia was pointing and saw a building that he usually went to. Ah, that's a game center, a place where you and your friends can play and have fun. Ah, friends huh? Issei saw the look of profound sadness in that innocent face and instantly made up his mind. Come on Asia. Huh? Let's go there, you want to play right? Boo, I won't take no for an answer. We're going and that's that. Asia could only manage to nod dumbly at his declaration. Issei took Asia to the game center where they both enjoyed themselves on the attractions provided. Asia was having the best day of her life. She and Issei did a lot of things in the game center. She played a card game, which she lost, a fighting game, she managed to beat Issei handily, and even went to a photo booth with Issei. The photos of the two of them smiling and laughing together was something that Asia would cherish until the end of her days. Issei-san. Look. It's so cute. Asia was currently pressed against a claw machine and looking at the dolls displayed inside. Ah, that's Domo-kun. Would you like me to get it for you? Ah, yes, if it isn't too much trouble. Asia watched as Issei tried the machine and after a few repetitions, managed to get the doll. Wow. Issei-san, you got it. I know. Here, take it Asia. Asia watched with wonder as Issei deposited the plushie straight into her eager hands. Thank you Issei-san, thank you very much. I'll take care of it forever. The sun was starting to set before the two of them left the game center, walking towards the park and sat at one of the benches in front of the fountain. A few moments of silence passed before Asia spoke up. Issei-san, do you know about sacred gears? Yeah. I do. My sacred gear is the power to heal, the twilight healing. Really, you have such an amazing power, unlike me. Asia, who hadn't heard the last part of Issei's response, forged on forwards, tears falling from her eyes, and she felt Issei panic beside her. Ah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. Asia just shook her head. No, you didn't do anything wrong, it's just I remembered something. There was a tense silence between them. Issei-san, may I tell you a story? After seeing him nod, Asia told him her piece. Once, there was a girl who was abandoned by her parents and she ended up going to the orphanage of a church. When she was 8 years old, she awakened a power within her when she saw an injured dog on the side of the road. The people of the church saw it and began to praise her as a saint and was worshipped by the Christians in the town. Many people went to that girl to be healed, so many people went to the church to get healed. Even though that girl was loved, even though she was always with people, she was still so lonely. Left alone in the world, even amongst those who praise and worship her, she had no one to call a friend, no one to truly count on. But then, one day, the girl came across a wounded devil who was being hunted by an exorcist. So she used her powers to help him. The devil killed the exorcist and then ran away. When the church heard about it, they were in an uproar. Heretic. They yelled. A sinner who would help the devils. And so the girl, who only wanted to help, was cast out by the people who once called her a saint. Asia. Issei breathed out. The nun smiled sadly. I have a dream. To be with my friends. To talk to them, experience things with them. I just want to be normal. Looking down at the ground, Asia started at the feeling of a hand ruffling her hair. Aren't we friends? Dumbfounded, Asia could only manage to say. Huh, we're already friends. We went out together, talked to each other, and even went to the game center together. If you want to go anywhere, I'll be ready to be with you. If you want to talk someone, then I'll be there for you. If you're sad, I'll be with you. Asia could only stare at Issei during his declaration. Unbidden, tears began to fill her eyes. Issei-san. It was the perfect ending. After years of isolation, Asia finally managed to make a friend. So it just proved that the world really was cruel when a cold voice interrupted the moment. What nice words from a human. With wide eyes, Asia turned around and turned her gaze towards the fallen angel floating above the fountain. Rainer-sama. Issei's eyes narrowed as he observed the fallen angel, instantly moving to shield Asia behind him. Come back Asia. We have work to do. She reached out her hand towards the nun. Asia nodded, stepping forward. Asia. Sorry Issei-san, but I have to go now. What? But she's a fallen angel, you shouldn't go with her. Asia just ignored him, looking down as she walked to Rainer. Did you fall for her? Ha. How pathetic. The fallen angel suddenly narrowed her eyes at him. Which reminds me. What the hell did you do to me at that night? I have to repay you for whatever the hell you did to me. I know, how about I kill you? A light spear formed at her hands, making Issei tense at the killing intent aimed at him. Wait. Asia stepped in front of Rainer, shielding Issei from her sight. Asia? What are you doing? Please, Rainer-sama, please let him go. After a few 10 seconds, Rainer HMPH''D the light spear dissipating back into energy. You're lucky boy. But next time I see you, I will repay you for whatever the hell it is that you did to my memories. She turned to Asia. Let's go. Asia? Issei was conflicted. What the hell should he do? Should he save Asia and risk a war starting out? More so if Asia was doing it on her own free will. If he interrupted, then nothing, not even the protection of the devils, would protect him and everything remotely connected to him from the attack of the fallen. Goodbye Issei-san. Rainer carried Asia off into their headquarters, the church at the outskirts of town. And Issei, watching them, was disgusted at himself because a cold, callous part of himself that he hid from the world was saying leave her. She's nothing but dead weight, a useless thing, not worth the effort. Issei remembered another girl, surrounded by people who worshipped her, yet was one of the loneliest people he had ever met. Issei, you are nice. Issei never hated himself as much as he did right now. Issei continued to wallow in self-pity and hatred as he biked to the home of his next summoner. When he got back to the Occult Research Club, Riaz had given him the location of his next contract, asking. Issei, are you alright? Yes, but you. Riaz, however, was skeptical. Are you sure? Yes. Issei left, effectively ending the conversation. And here he was now, arguing with himself. Why didn't I do anything? Because you don't know if Asia was deceiving you. She isn't that kind of girl. Oh, that's rich. You've only known her for 2 days and you're already like that. Remember, she was with a fallen angel. Maybe Asia was being forced. Issei was desperately trying to convince himself of that fact. Or maybe she was just using you, manipulating you. Turning you into her puppet, willing to do anything for her. I'm her friend. Oh. But you're acting as a devil, the enemy of her side. You would do nothing but trouble her if you keep seeing her. Issei shook his head to rid himself of those thoughts. He would go to the church tomorrow and clear things up with Asia. For now, he had a contract to make. Hello, is someone here? No one answered. After a few moments, he entered the room, ignoring his instincts telling him to do otherwise. He immediately understood why. The smell of blood was intense. He slowly walked around the house, looking for the source of the stench. He reached the living room and was met with the sight of a corpse crucified upside down, its entrails hanging down from its cut-open stomach. He instantly turned his gaze to the other person in the room. Do you like what I did to him? It's such a nice sight, isn't it? A devil summoner getting his just desserts given to him. Ah, killing those heretics really does soothe the soul, doesn't it? You shitty devil. Wearing clerical clothes and an insane grin, the white-haired priest began to ramble on. Ah, my name is Fried Selzen, nice to meet you, you shitty devil. Don't bother telling me your own name, you're just gonna die soon anyway. That's because I'm going to kill you, by the way. The priest rushed at him, pulling out a gun and a light sword. Devil-killing weapons. Issei instantly recognized them. He wielded a fair few of them himself after all. He dodged the first shot easily, simply tilting his head to the side. This seemed to anger the exorcist. Hey? What's this? A shitty devil that can actually fight. Don't screw with me. The barrage of bullets that Fried sent would be enough to overwhelm any other human and some devils. It wasn't enough for Issei, not nearly enough. Dodging the assault with contemptuous ease, Issei rushed at the now panicking exorcist. Desperately, Fried swiped at Issei, who simply clamped down on the offending arm by the wrist. You shitty devil. Let me go, I'm gonna kill you. Do people really expect me to let them go when they say that? Issei simply tightened his grip, easily breaking the priest's bones, forcing him to let go of the sword. Issei-san. Issei instantly turned his gaze to the doorway. There, standing with eyes, was Asia. The surprise of seeing her here of all places with the most unlikely person in the most unlikely time distracted him enough so that Fried was able to get out of his hold. Asia? What are you doing here? Father Fried brought me Alo. Asia stopped in horror as she seemed to take on the side of the mutilated corpse for the first time. What is that? That, my dear sweet Asia-chan, is what we do those shitty little devil summoners. Since they turned away from God and all, it's our responsibility to kill them so they reach heaven. I don't really believe in shit like that, but I get to kill devils, so why not? Ha 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 ha. Fried grabbed the back of Asia's head and forced her to look at the mutilated corpse. Asia screamed desperately, but the insane priest hit her in the back of her head and forced her eyes open. This is our job, Asia-chan, this is what we must do to make sure that those devil shits won't corrupt the people and make them into devils. Father Fried, stop. Please stop. The sight of Asia struggling against Fried was enough to make Issei snap. Issei was quite ready to murder the son of a bitch when a devil's summoning circle appeared in the middle of the room and the whole Occult Research Club stepped forward, Kiba stopping him from acting. Let go. Ah. The shitty devils are here already. We need to get moving. Fried picked up Asia and threw something on the ground and Issei, mad with rage, was slow enough to be affected by it. Asia? But the two were already gone. Why? Why did you stop me? Issei all but roared. Listen Issei, I know that you're strong, but if you fought, then you could start a war. You're fighting a fallen angel while acting as a devil after all. I don't care. Issei. No. I will save Asia no matter what it takes. Issei turned around and ran towards the direction of the church. The image of Asia, smiling at him cheerfully during their time together came at the front of his mind. Issei, you are nice. Issei was reminded of a certain girl who he failed to save. This only pushed him to run harder. He already failed to save someone once, and he'd be damned if he failed this one. Issei was nearly at the entrance of the church when he heard the flapping of wings. He looked up and found 3 fallen angels floating above him, staring down at him. So you came, huh? I actually expected this, to be honest. The one who spoke was someone who Issei already knew, the fallen angel who tried to kill him, Donosik. Still, to think you came alone, this may be my chance to kill you before you cause any more problems. Ah, so this is the one who messed with Rainer Sama's head and the one who beat you? He looked so weak. This one was a teenage girl with blue eyes and blonde hair tied up in twintails. She was dressed up in a black Lolita dress with white frills, a ribbon on the front, white thigh-high socks and black boots. HMPH, you really need to crush insects like this when you see them. Creatures like this need to know their place, said their final companion. She was a tall woman with long hair that hid her right eye, dressed in a violet top, miniskirt and black shoes. Issei, seeing them, yelled out. I don't have time for your shit. Issei held out his hands, an orange fire roared to life in them, covering his hands with a soft golden hue. What? But the fire suddenly engulfed the 3 bodies, before crystallizing into ice. What the hell is this? But Issei ignored them, instead running straight to the door, slamming it open. There, standing underneath the cross, was Fried. Where is she? Issei's voice was soft, but still carried a tone of warning. Ah. Hi. Wow, you're here already. Didn't those fallen angels out there stop you? Ah well, you're too late anyway, Rainer Sama has already started the ceremony. So you owe. Fried stopped, eyes wide as Issei suddenly appeared in front of him, hands crossed in front of him. 0-point breakthrough. What happened here? Briaz and her peerage stepped out of the summoning circle and was met with an unbelievable sight. 3 fallen angels, their bodies encased in what looked like ice, struggling fruitlessly as nothing they did manage to even dent it. Ice? Akeno murmured thoughtfully as she went closer to inspect the unique material. She had never seen something like this before. It looked like ice, and yet why could she sense the unmistakable sign of fire in it? Oh devils, get us out of here. And why would we do that? Riaz asked. I thought so. But you, who could have done something like this? Kaneko voiced the only possible answer. Hi to Issei. Well, whatever it is he's done, we need to help Issei Kun with this. The Occult Research Club walked over to the church. Suo, I take it they're not going to free us from whatever the hell this is. Shut up, middled. Asia. He was currently in the basement of the church, which was big enough to fit the whole building in it. Inside, the mooks of the fallen angels that were dressed much in the same way as the crazy priest frozen above were glaring at him, prepared to fight him at a moment's notice. Asia, however, was crucified on a wooden cross, wearing a transparent piece of cloth. Beside her was Rainer wearing a plain white dress. Asia. Oh God, dear God, please don't make him be too late. He will never forgive himself if he fails this girl, this precious little girl who was too young, too innocent to die. So you survived after all, you even managed to reach this part. But you're too late, I have already started the ritual. In a few minutes, I will have this girl's sacred gear. Rainer proclaimed. Stop this, Rainer. I swear, if you let her go right here and now, then I will let you go, all of you, without harming anyone and put this all behind us. Rainer sneered at him. You're pathetic. Oh, right, I promised, didn't I? That the next time we meet, I would repay you for that date we had. The fallen spat out the word like it had done her a personal insult. Kill him. Issei was shaking in rage and once more, flames alighted his hands and his forehead, his eyes glowing a golden orange. His voice soft, unheard in the ruckus caused by the weapons of the followers of the fallen, he whispered. Boosted gear. X gloves. His hands were suddenly covered by crimson metal gloves and the flames in his hand gradually faded, being absorbed by his sacred gear. 0-point breakthrough. Absolute 0. But that declaration, the whole room was suddenly covered in ice, the subordinates freezing in their tracks. Only Asia, Rainer and Issei were unaffected. Slowly, almost solemnly, Issei walked amongst the ice towards the altar where Asia was placed, and in that moment, Rainer felt like she saw God walking among his subjects. When Issei reached the 2 of them, Rainer dumbly stepped aside, her wonder and awe at the scene she just saw temporarily shutting down all her mental functions. Hey Asia, it's me. Issei-san. Hi. Why are you here? Issei smiled down at the blonde. I told you, didn't I? When you are sad, I'll be there for you. Asia managed to return the gesture. Yes. You did. You did, Issei-san. I'm so happy to have a friend like you. Who was with me till the last. What are you talking about, Asia? We're gonna be together even after this. We still haven't done so many things yet. I wanted to show you more, Asia. We're going to go ice skating next, would you like that? Ah, that sounds nice, Issei-san. I just wish that I had more time with you, thank you. For everything you did for me. Asia closed her eyes, a small peaceful smile at her beautiful face. Asia? Oi, Asia, wake up, don't you want to do that? We're going to do many more things. I was going to introduce you to my parents. And Asia. Asia, please wake up. Please. I can't lose you, please no. Not this. Issei cried out, refusing to believe it. Asia was strong. She was gonna get through this, right? Issei gently laid down her body and crossed her arms on her chest. I know. I know that revenge wouldn't solve anything. I know that it won't fix anything that's happened. It won't bring Asia back. But still, I have to do this, if not for me, then I'll do it for her. Issei stood up slowly and walked towards the fallen angel. Rainer backpedaled quickly but got no further when Issei landed his orange eyes on hers. Rainer gave out a shiver. Being gazed at by those eyes made it so that she both wanted it to go away and made her crave for more. The feeling was driving her insane. Finally he stood in front of her and softly said, "This is for her." Issei-san, stop. Asia? Issei turned around and saw that Asia's eyes were opened once more. Please don't kill someone for me. You're a nice person. I don't want you to do something like that. Issei's eyes turned wide. Please. Don't kill anymore. You should help people. Greg, you are nice. Asia's words were like a slap in the face. Staring at the fallen angel, Issei was conflicted. One side of him, his cruel self, was saying kill her. She stole Asia from you, it's only fair for you to kill her. His other side, the one who wanted to turn away from all this bloodshed, said. Stop. Enough blood has been spilled on her account. Let bygones be bygones. Issei looked at Asia once more, who was so kind that she went back just to stop him from taking revenge, her revenge, and then stared at the resigned fallen angel in front of him, her head bowed down, gaze to the ground. Issei, gritting his teeth, raised his hand to land the death blow when unbidden. Please don't kill someone for me. Greg, you are nice. Issei closed his eyes with a sigh and thought. Asia, you really are too nice for your own good. Issei dismissed his gauntlet. Go. Rainer's eyes was instantly turned towards him. What? Just go. Asia wanted you to live and I'm honoring her final request. You're free to go. Issei snapped his fingers. There, your companions are now free. Why? Because I owe it to a dying girl to fulfill her dying wish. She really is a kind girl. It just goes to show that Faith really does like to fuck us up. Why are you still here? I already said that you can go. If you're worried for them, then I'll let them go too. Issei gestured towards the frozen exorcists around them. Rainer looked at Issei uncertainly before she spread her wings and hesitantly flew away. Issei, now alone, bar the mooks, but they were frozen, so who cares? Staggered to the altar and slumped down against it. He looked at the blonde and smiled at her, tucking away an errant strand of hair behind her ear. You're like her. So innocent, so naive and trusting. You probably would have gotten along splendidly. Issei sighed. Now what? Should I just leave again? Ah, but my parents would be so worried and the devils might look for me. Not to mention the fallen angels. Damn it, they might report me to their leader. I could kill them, but then Asia would probably scold me. The thought of Asia pouting at him and hitting him ineffectively made him snort in laughter. Issei, what happened here? Issei's eyes instantly went over to the devils walking through the door. Devils. That's it. But you? Issei picked up Asia's body and rushed over to them. Issei knelt down and prostrated himself before them. Please, please reincarnate her. His voice, on the verge of breaking yet was filled with tentative hope, clawed at each of their hearts. I beg you, save her. Bring her back to life. I'll do anything, I'll leave and join your peerage just shhh. Issei, don't talk anymore. I don't need anything from you, if it's your request, then I'll do it. Don't worry, I will reincarnate her, promise. Issei, for the first time in 3 years, broke down in tears, gratefully embracing Rias who gently, soothingly, returned the gesture. Issei only sobbed harder. They were now out of the underground cavern, now inside the church itself, where Asia's body was lying in the middle of a devil's circle. Issei, are you sure you want her to be reincarnated as a devil? Yes, but you. Okay. Rias shut her eyes then said, her voice filled with magic. I command thee, Asia Argento, by my name as Rias Gremory, become my servant and once more return to this land and become a devil. The wind began to pick up as the bishop piece slowly sunk into Asia's body. You shall live this life as my bishop. When the light finally faded, it showed that the piercings in her hands and feet were gone. Slowly, Asia opened her eyes. Issei-san. Success. Issei, you can go to her now. Issei slowly approached the newly revived bishop. Asia. Issei-san. What am I doing here? Asia. Asia. Issei embraced her, tears flowing down, crying in joy at the sight of his friend very much alive. Issei-san. I'm so happy that you're alive. Me too. Asia embraced him back, the warmth of her body reassuring Issei that she was back in the land of the living. It was the day after the fallen angel incident and Issei entered the occult research club where he greeted Rias. Good morning. Good morning. Issei sat down in front of the president and said. Thank you for what you did. Last night I mean. Rias smiled at him. I already told you didn't I? Don't worry about it. Still, I feel like I have to repay my debt. Rias shook her head, her smile never vanishing from her face. No. You don't have to. Just knowing that you're here is enough for me. Still, I would like to know what you did to those fallen angels. I have never seen anything like that. Magic. Well, that day, I think I finally figured out what you really are. What I really am. You're this generation's Secretariat. Yeah. The boosted gear, the Red Dragon Emperor's Gauntlet, one of the 13 Longinus sacred gears capable of killing gods. And I also suspect that you're an ability user from what I saw. I really am lucky to have met you, Issei. Rias reached out, holding his face between her two hands. This is a good luck charm. She placed her head close to his and kissed his forehead. If you decide to be a devil, then I hope that charm will be enough for you. But for now, do what you're doing and keep up the good work, okay? Issei nodded, rubbing his forehead. Well, that's all for now. If not, then the new member might get jealous. What? Issei-san. Asia? He turned around and saw the former nun standing near the door. I see, it's because Butchu is so pretty and that's why Issei-san is so attracted to her. I really need to step up to win. But I can't think that way or the Lord will punish me. Please Lord forgive Oh. Asia yelped in pain as the prayer assaulted her, with her being a devil and all. She sighed then said mournfully. I've become a devil now. That means that I can't talk with the Lord now. I'm sorry. Issei didn't know what to say. Do you regret it? Being a devil I mean. Don't worry about that Issei-san. I don't care what I am, just as long as I am with you. Thank you Butchu for giving me this life. She bowed at her new master. Really? Then that's fine. I hope that you will work hard okay? Yes. Issei finally just saw that she was wearing something different today. Asia, you're wearing the uniform. Does it look good on me? Asia asked shyly, tapping the tip of her foot on the ground. She was wearing the complete Kuo Academy girl's uniform, only wearing a black vest instead of the corset the school provided. Yeah it does. You look really cute Asia. See cute, huh? Asia blushed in embarrassment. Asia's going to attend our school starting today. She's a second year and furthermore, I asked that she be placed in the same class as you, so take good care of her Issei. Don't worry Butchu, I will definitely take care of Asia. At Issei's proud proclamation, Asia blushed an even further shade of red. I can already hear their cries of anger. Issei. What the hell is with this development? Issei, no, we demand an explanation for this. What is this beautiful blonde foreigner doing with you? Good morning Butchu, Issei-kun, Asia-chan. Good morning Butchu, Issei-senpai, Asia-senpai. Good morning Butchu, Issei-kun, Asia-san. The Keno, Kaneko and Kibo all went in the room together, greeting Asia with a smile. Good morning to all of you. Asia bowed. Since everyone's here now, let's start the party. As she said it, cake, food and drinks appeared on top of the previously empty table. We're all here to celebrate Asia joining my peerage, so I made the food. Let's all have fun alright. The chorus of agreements followed Ria's declaration. After the party, Issei went back home. It was already dark and his parents were sleeping in their room. He walked to his room and entered the bathroom. Once he closed the door, he felt his body shake uncontrollably as he placed both hands on the sink. Damn it, he thought he had longer before it started again. Voice hoarse, he asked out loud. Greg, how bad is it? That bad? Huh. Well fuck. Who would have thought the great Secretariat would be reduced to this? Partner, don't be too harsh on yourself. By all rights, you shouldn't even be alive right now. Juggernaut Drive shreds the user's life force. A normal human couldn't possibly be expected to last in that form for a half hour. You managed to last too. You shouldn't underestimate yourself. Well, whatever it was Issei was interrupted by a violent coughing fit. Hunched against the sink, he looked up and saw his reflection in the mirror. Now that he was alone, he could afford to look weak. His face was too pale, his eyes had bags underneath them, and blood was running down his chin from his mouth. Issei sat alone in the bathroom for quite a while. Finally he asked. Greg. Yeah? How long do I have? Assuming that you don't come into contact with the supernatural and use magic. 5 years. But considering your involvement with the devils and the fallen, realistically, you have about 1.5 years left. I'm sorry partner. I see. Issei watched with detached eyes as the blood clung to the marble of the kitchen sink. Greg, after doing so many things I'm not proud of, do you think it's selfish of me to want to live longer? To be able to be with my friends, to do so many more things. I haven't even lost my virginity yet. I want the drag, I really do. Partner, I've lived a very long life as a dragon and almost as long as a sacred gear. I can honestly say, without exaggeration, that you are the best one I have ever had. You may have had your moments in the past, but doesn't matter. You even managed to fight off the Juggernaut Drive's curse by yourself. You are a good person, partner, you really are. If anyone deserves a better faith than this, it's you. Huh. Thanks, partner. That's right. I still haven't seen Office yet. I have to make sure that she's okay, and not to mention Kunu. I still have to meet her again. I promised her that I'll come back to Kyoto to meet her when she's grown up. And also, Issei's inane chatter helped him deal with the fact that he only had, at best, 5 years left to live. Ah well, if that's what all he's given, then he'll simply have to make the best out of it.